In the previous video, we have seen how to navigate the target directories. Now we will see how to grab these files. Now I just want to say, before grabbing any data from the target machine, you've got to make sure that the rules of engagement are explicitly allow this. So let's start with the server side. I have added a new if statement as an indicator that this is not a normal command. This command is used to transfer a file. So both the server and the client must agree on this indicator or formula. Now the formula is going to be grab, then star, then the path of the file that we want to grab. Okay, let's jump to the client side a little bit here. And as I said, both the client and the server must agree on this formula. So on the client side, if we receive a grab string, we will split the command into two sections, where the second section contain the path and we will store the path in the path variable. So now, to make sure that our script will not crash if anything went wrong during the transfer, we used an exception handling. Next, we send the path variable to the transfer function. Okay, so the first thing that we're gonna do in the transfer function, we will check if the requested file exists in the first place or not. If not, then we're gonna send immediately that the file does not exist. Next, we will read the file as pieces or chunks, where each piece or each chunk has a value of 1 kilobyte. And we will loop around until we reach the end of the file. And when we do so, we need to send an indicator or a tag to the server side to indicate that we have reached the end of the file. So the done string here is to indicate that we have reached the end of the file. Now on the server side, we create a placeholder or file holder. We will store the received bytes in test.png, which is the file holder here. And we enter a loop, and each time we read 1 kilobyte of data and write it into test.png. But if we receive the done string, this means that we have reached the end of the file. So we're gonna close the file and end up the loop. Also, if we got unable to find the file, we will print this out and break the loop. So let's try and test our script. And this error message is happened because we don't have an IP address assigned to the Kali machine. So let me fix this real quick here. Okay, so we are listening on port 8080, and once we run the script on the target side, we got the shell. Let me just show you that we got nothing on the desktop, just to verify that we are grabbing that files. Okay, so I will go for directory, and let's try to grab putty.exe. And once again, just a quick recap, when we type this command, this will trigger the if statement on both the client side as well as the server side. So on the target, when we receive a grab star putty.exe, we will split up this command into two parts. The second part contains the putty.exe, which is the file that we want to grab. We will store it in the path variable. And if we go to the code one more time, so first thing, we will check if the file exists and read it as a chunks and send it over to the server side. So let's see if this is gonna work here. Okay, so as you can see, we need to change the file extension to putty.exe, since we both know that this is not an image, this is only a placeholder. So let me run that putty.exe using wine just to make sure that the file does not corrupted or does not get corrupted during the transfer, and fair enough, it's working. Okay, so right now let's try with another one. So I'm gonna grab diagram.png. Now since the file that we want to grab has the same extension as our file holder, which is both have .png, we don't need to change the extension, the file extension. Now let me try to grab a file that does not exist, or before that let's do module2.pdf. Let's try with another extension, which is PDF. So the same rule here, I will change the name to module2.pdf, and fair enough, it's working fine. Okay, right now let's try with a file that does not exist. So I will go back to our shell here, and I'm gonna say grab blah 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 .exe, and fair enough, we can see that we got that message, which is unable to find out the file without crashing our script here, or our script on the target side. Okay, so last word before moving on. You probably were expecting that we will talk about like a well-known protocol like FTP, SCP, secure FTP to do the file transfer. But in fact that we have used a very low level file transfer over a TCP socket. So you were wondering, why did we do that? Well, this well-known protocol could be blocked on the firewall edge. So if this is the case, then we got no chance to grab any files out. Now what we have done, instead of initiating a new channel each time that we want to transfer a file, which may trigger the admin attention, so we have created a single TCP socket, single session for gaining access, doing a remote shell as well as a file transfer. So this type called an inline transfer, where we got a single channel, single session for all of our stuff.